What's up, YouTube? This episode, I gotta give big kudos to Law's crew because I expected them to just flat out just lay down and just surrender to Blackbeard's crew, but no, they're actually putting up a fight, and they look like they even might have finished one of Blackbeard's commanders at the moment too. I really wish that we would have seen more of this back in Wano to build them up a little bit more. It just came out of nowhere. I just really am shocked about what they were doing. They are claiming they are from the North Blue and saying they're really good at sea battles, so you better not take them lightly. One of them was able to hold in water in their mouth and shoot it up like a geyser right into the air to block some incoming exploding apples. And everybody know where the exploding apples come from, so I don't think I need to give further into that. But they managed to stop the exploding apples and hit the person that was throwing them as well too. So it really is showing that they are kind of, I still don't think they got really heavy hitters like our crew do, our Straw Hat crew does, but they crew do got some people that can do a good job. They have more people around like Usopp and Frankie and Nami on their crew, and it's showing in this chapter, and I was very impressed by them. So I have to give big kudos once again to them. Not to be outranked, their commander, their captain was showing that he was still in his bag, and he was going to toe with Blackbeard himself, a Yonko. And it's kind of looking like Law is like a Yonko on his own level right now, but we have seen this time and time again with Blackbeard fighting somebody. At first, it always looks like Blackbeard is about to lose the fight. He's looking real bad. It kind of reminds me a lot of when Luffy fights somebody for the first time. It always looks so bad, but after a while, Luffy keeps getting back up and he keeps on fighting, and then he finally gets a win. This is how exactly I feel like this chapter is forecasting right now. It's just forecasting Blackbeard gonna keep getting beat down, and then at the very end of this fight, he was starting to use Black Vortex, but we're gonna get that in a little bit later. And then he wins the fight. One that really stands out to me in Blackbeard's experience of fighting is the one with Ace. Ace was going toe to toe with them, and Blackbeard was on his back burning, but Blackbeard did finally overcome all that and won the fight after using Black Vortex. And we're gonna talk about that. I promise you, we will. But it was just, this is how I see Law's stories going. Law is going to be showing that he is looking like he's going to win a fight, but then eventually Blackbeard's going to come over and start using his darkness fruit, start using his quake fruits, and then just combining them all, and then not going to be working out for Law. Before that happens, Law was showing some stuff out of his bag. He was using a new room called Room Amputate, and he cuts stronger right as Blackbeard is using him to fly to get towards Law. And that shows you the distance, the volume of how Law can attack. He can be far away from somebody, but still use his room on them and then cut them if they don't have Haki. And one thing that I have to talk about with you guys with Haki right now is, does Blackbeard really show that he ever has Haki, like some strong Haki? Even Kaido has said it back in Wano. He said Roger and Whitebeard, they had true Haki, and that's why they was able to rule like that. So I'm really trying to figure out, I've never seen Blackbeard use anything as like King Kakaro's Haki. I never seen him use any observation Haki. I never seen him use really any strong Haki, and I feel like that is Blackbeard's weakness. He's not trying to put no effort into Haki whatsoever, and that's probably why he even got his devil fruit power to null all devil fruit power, so that's be able for him to go against them. But for some reason, I have never seen Blackbeard use Haki to extent of a Yonko should have been able to use it. We even seen Law last chapter, he kind of used some Haki to be able to get rid of that disease that was plaguing him on his submarine. So I really feel like that's going to be a big weakness when Blackbeard eventually fights Luffy. But after Law knocks Blackbeard off his high horse, he then follows up with, y'all already know it, not the big Willie, the shock Willie, guys. Come on, get your head out the gutter. But he uses the shock Willie on Blackbeard, and Blackbeard was given that faint look like he always do like I said before, when Ace burned him, he was doing that and everything too. So it really did show it was really effective. And don't forget, guys, Blackbeard isn't really a true Logia. He does have the powers of the darkness fruit, but all the stuff that he feels is amplified to a different degree. So normally that would have hurt somebody just regular, but since he is a darkness devil fruit user, it amplifies up even to a higher extent. So Blackbeard does show that he has some endurance, but he does have multiple weaknesses that I'm starting to look at. He has the weakness of getting hurt real bad and doubles it and magnifies it, and also he doesn't really show any hockey. So those are a couple things that I'm seeing right now from this fight, and just showing the versatility of Law as well. Right after Blackbeard received that shock willy, Commodore warps over there to Blackbeard because he sees that Blackbeard is not doing okay. And when he does that, he tells Blackbeard, see, what happens when you go charge in without a plan. And that is so much like Luffy. Once again, I'm seeing these ties in again with Luffy and Blackbeard. Blackbeard and Luffy have this, once again, bond that they're kind of two of the same people, but opposites in some different ways. Blackbeard and Luffy always would charge in without having any type of plan whatsoever. Also, Blackbeard and Luffy tends to fight whoever they're fighting at the time, lose many times, but eventually they will overcome them and be the victor at the end. And this is exactly when I still believe Law will lose this fight, and this is going to be overcoming. Blackbeard will be overcoming Law's devil fruits and Law's abilities, and I'm telling you, it will be. Beppo will eventually just give the rubs to Blackbeard, so Blackbeard would not kill his captain. And I think that Law's gonna put up a good fight, but eventually Blackbeard will just be the flat-out victory. And to save the captain alive, Beppo will be over there with the rubs and say, please just save our captain, and I won't burn these if you just leave right now. Right after we see that Blackbeard gets saved by Commodore, we also do see a glimpse of Pudding. Pudding is actually have been captured by the Blackbeard pirates via the cover spread. If I know I haven't really talked about the cover spreads because this is something I really don't talk about much, but during the cover spread, we seen that we had some random characters that went into Whole Cake Island, took the rubbings of the poneglyphs, and also took Pudding as captured, and it was shown that they was using some frozen abilities. So everybody in the community was thinking Aokiji, and come to find out, everybody was right. Aokiji went up there to Whole Cake Island and fought everybody, and also at the same time he stole Pudding, and he also stole the rub poneglyphs for Blackbeard. Right now, currently, Blackbeard has one rubbing right now that we really confidently know, but after he finished this fight with Law and wins, he should have 2 of the sides that he needs, and then he just will need 1 more size, and then he will be able to go towards where the One Piece is at. What's up, YouTube? I hope you are enjoying the show right now. In case you didn't know, I am Ro, and I tell you all the news that you need to know about One Piece today. And this is Ro Talk, where we talk about One Piece, guys and family and friends. So if you do like that, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you always be in that loop. And now let's get back to the video. And that's another reason why I think it has to be that Law has to lose this fight in some type of fashion, because if he doesn't, Blackbeard will have to go to Wano, he will have to go to Zou, and that just doesn't flow with the story at this moment. All the places that Luffy came and saved, Blackbeard will come into that town and destroy it once again, and that just it's like backwards for Luffy, unless Oda is really gonna get real dark in here and he's gonna show us some crazy stuff. But I just don't see it happening that Blackbeard will ride to Wano and Zou, destroy those whole villages just to get the real poneglyphs, and then find a way to go to the 4th one, and while Luffy is trying to go find the 4th one as well too. So it's going to be very hard for me to see that in the story, and it won't really fit at all. As those two, I'm gonna call them right now, as those two Yonkos clash, Law and Blackbeard. Okay, Law is not really a Yonko. I'm just saying he's built different right now. But as Law and Blackbeard clash for the last page that we have seen them fighting, Blackbeard finally uses Black Vortex. And everybody know once we see Black Vortex, it's basically like a game over type of thing. When Ace happened to have that move used against him, it was a wrap. It was done. Ace, next time we seen Ace, Ace was in a jail cell and he was beaten up badly. And I feel like this is the turning page for Blackbeard. Blackbeard is now about to give a deadly blow or a bad blow to Law, and that's when the Beppo or one of Law's crewmates will go over there to them and like, Blackbeard, enough. Don't kill my captain. Here goes the Red Public list. Please just leave my captain alone. And that's what we will see later on in the story. And I just feel like that is what Destiny is going to have for us. The last thing I want to talk about with Blackbeard and the whole crew of his is that Commodore has the power of warping things around from him to grabbing things. So I'm really curious about how far that devil fruit will go. Is it something that he has to see? Is it someplace that he just has to been at? Or is it something that he doesn't even have to see? It's just that he can just teleport there just by thinking it. Because if that's the case, that really probably would explain how Blackbeard is getting to point A to point B. Because if you didn't watch my video last week when I was talking about how is Blackbeard moving like this, and now I'm starting to figure out, like, I'm really starting to think that this devil fruit that Commodore has, he's able to teleport Blackbeard quicker than expected. Because last time we saw Blackbeard was on Amazon Lily fighting against Kobe and Bo Hancock, and he stopped when he saw Rayleigh. So how is he starting to hear about this news that Law and Kid and Luffy beat Kaido? Now it's time for him to hightail it out of there and make it before they get to their new island. He was said that he knew that one of them was gonna pop up. So how did he make it that fast? Or are all these islands that closely connected? I cannot see that because one, that it took Luffy and his crew a couple days just to make it towards Egg Island. So I don't see it working like that. I really do see that Commodore Devil Fruit power, his warp fruit, is teleporting them, and that's how Blackbeard is now able to get to quicker with islands. He's almost on the level of Shanks, because we have seen Shanks before being able to just at Marijola, and then next thing you know, he's at battling Kaido, and then next thing you know is in Marineford. So we have seen that a lot, but I'm really starting to see it now a lot here with Blackbeard as well too. In order for Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, and Joribani to escape from the cop pacifista of Kuma, they had to improvise and get some disguises on, and that's when Joribani came into play. Joribani, guys, if you don't know, she can change her age from 2 to all the way to a grown man or an old man. So, and that is exactly what happened with some of the crew. Luffy became an old man, Chopper became an old man, Jinbei became younger, it's kid Jinbei, and also Joribani has become a kid herself. And that's the cop pacifista is looking for him. He cannot find him now because he just sees an old man and 2 kids at the moment. So it's a good play by Joribani to gain their composure, and also it's great to see that none of them died after that big explosion that happened last week. Who would have thought that? Everybody was nervous, wasn't they? As they are all in different ages, it's kind of cool to see how they all react. Luffy is acting like a straight up old grandpa, just laying down, like it just you can hear it, and by just reading it, how Luffy is just exaggerating his words, and Chopper as well too. But this is the time that Jinbei has wanted to open up the conversation about Kuma, and this is a perfect time for Jinbei to start to ask Joribani a question about the information that he knows about Kuma, saying that Kuma was a tyrant at first at his kingdom, so which was so bad that the civilians at there ran him out of town, and that's when he became a pirate. And then he worked with the Revolutionary Army, and then as he was working with them, at one point he got captured, and then instead of him being sentenced to death, he used his life to actually work for the world government. And when he worked for the world government, they used his body and his physical prowess for experiments so they can use it for the world government once again. And he says, does that work? Is that right, Joribani? He became a warlord and everything because of that. And Joribani just barely like was depressed and hearing all these stories about her father and everything, and she was telling you the main focal points that was right at the beginning. She was saying that yes, it's right that they used his body as a cyber experiment, and then also they did also make him become a warlord so he wouldn't be sentenced to death. She was like, yes, you are right, but at the same time, if you are a cyborg and you have no capability of what you're doing, that's basically being sentenced to death. So it's kind of like he still, no matter what, served his punishment of being sentenced to death. She really started to get really frustrated when Jinbei started to say, so he was a tyrant, and that's why he got captured. And then she was like, no, her father was not a tyrant. He was a kind person. And before the explanation of what Jinbei was saying that he knew about Kuma, you can see Jinbei thought of him as a really tyrant. He had this mean, menacing face to him that Kuma had a mean, menacing face to Jinbei when he was thinking about him. And that is not really the right perception of what Kuma was. From what Joribani was saying, it's just Kuma was actually a gentle, nice person. And even Sabo said it way back, and everybody in Revolutionary Army has even said this about Kuma. So it just really showing that the world government is painting this picture of this innocent man and making it completely not what it was. Just imagine if world government can erase a country and their whole history from existence. So why they're not going to do that to a simple civilian? They're going to do whatever they want to the civilian and then just eradicate whatever good name that he had. And Joribani is trying to get answers. And that is why she is at Egghead Island trying to talk to Dr. Vegapunk, because the death sentence that Kuma was going to face with the world government and the Dr. Vegapunk experiments of science that Dr. Vegapunk did on Kuma, they're basically the same to Joribani's eyes, and she is devastated about this whole thing, and that's why she wants to know answers. And also, she picked up a laser beam sword, and it looks cool. I'm really curious about these weapons that we are kind of seeing here on this island. Is this gonna come into play in some type of way? Are people really gonna have these weapons? But I'm getting off topic, but I thought it was fascinating. And then she gave us this one crucial piece of information too about why exactly that they wanted to use Kuma for experiments. It's because they said that Kuma is a part of a special people. And those special people could be many different things. We also have Kuma he kind of got the right shading, like King's race, a Lunarian. So it could possibly be a Lunarian. Kuma and Joribani could be like this kind of like half descendants, or probably a quarter for Joribani, but could be a descendant of a Lunarian. So that could be one of the people, a special type of people that Kuma is, and that's why they want to do experiments on Kuma, because they was like, Dad, this DNA has so much great usage that we can do stuff from it. And we have seen that with King. King's powers were very amazing, how he used it back when he was fighting against Zoro. So it was cool to see that, but you can see why the importance of that race and that power would be so useful for the world government. The special people that I do believe that Kuma was talking about, that he was saying that about himself, is the D members. And that is why we stopped at that cliffhanger right there with actually not knowing who they was talking about, because even Chopper chimed in, was like, who? Like special people? What type of special people are you talking about? And then we see Luffy right behind him too. So I think that was like basically like a foreshadowing, like, hey, what are they talking about? And then we got Luffy right inside of it. They're talking about people like D members, and those D members are very special people if we haven't heard that before, and we really don't have no kind of context about them whatsoever. And I think that's why Dr. Vegapunk would prove to be a very useful information source in these upcoming chapters. So we transition to another scene. We have the people that were still left on the Sunny are getting basically jack rocketed by the robot. It looks real cool. They are getting jack rocketed with the robot into the island that Luffy and the crew are on currently, the Egghead Island, because they were still at sea and they had to come to find Logic, because Logic said he has some use for them. And as they are arriving to Egghead Island, they can see all the amazing things that Egghead Island has. They can see monsters, they can see new science technology that's going on over there, and it looks real amazing. They was getting dropped off into the research lab. The research lab is actually above where Luffy and everybody was at down below, and they're seeing all the mayhem that Luffy was causing. Even Lilith said it, like, your captain must be up to something down there, making some problems down there. But as they was going up to the research lab, they got some new drip for one. Everybody is looking real decent. I don't know how I really feel about like Sanji's and Usopp's. They look a little weird, but you already know the other two. The other two looks are, all right, we'll talk about that later. But anyways, that we see also the something that happened. We see that Zoro and Brook decided to stay on the ship as everybody was making their way into the research center. When that happened too, Zoro was basically saying he don't trust Lilith, so he is not going to leave his guard down and have the ship be damaged and they have no way to escape. So he's going to be staying by the ship and protecting the ship like a good first commander does. Anyway, the most important information that we find here, that after everybody got their new costume designs or their new designs period, it was that the fact that Logic knows of Monkey D. Dragon, and that's another D name that just popped up in this whole story that we are talking about today. So that is another importance of a D. But they were saying that Logic was saying that he knows his death is imminent and he has something to tell Dragon, and Dragon's saying stop with the jokes, like don't play around, your jokes are bad. But then Logic really is trying to tell Dragon about something that's very key and important. The reason why this is all important is that the fact that the Revolutionary Army and Dr. Vegapunk have some type of relationship and they are working together. If Dr. Vegapunk is only completely about the world government, it would just, be very weird that he's working with the Revolutionary Army that is opposite with what the world government and their ideas. So it has to show that Dr. Vegapunk is a good guy in this story some type of way, not just a completely evil tyrant or a completely evil mad scientist as the world would like to think that he is. Like the readers would like to think he is. Not only did Dragon have a relationship with Dr. Vegapunk, but also, don't forget, as we was talking about earlier in the chapter, Kuma has a relationship with the Dr. Vegapunk. So it's showing that there is some type of relationship that's going on over there. Maybe all the information was not just only used, all Dr. Vegapunk's research and everything was not only just used for the world government, that the Revolutionary Army was playing some part of some of that research too, getting some probably useful devices and stuff. And the last thing that transpired of this story is what Dr. Vegapunk really wants to tell Dragon, and I believe that is what's happened to Sabo. Sabo had his communication cut off at one point, and he was trying to tell everybody what happened on Mary Joa, but he never got to relay that message. And that is why the great genius and the great scientist of Dr. Vegapunk will come into play. He probably overheard that conversation. He probably unjammed all the communication that Sabo was getting jammed by, and then he finally delivered now to Dragon the words that Sabo was trying to tell Dragon in the first place. That's when everything will start getting real good, because then I believe Dragon will go on a revenge tour after one of his strongest commanders got hurt real badly and probably thinks is dead. But guys, that's the end of this week's chapter, and it was flat out great because it was a lot of things that we got to talk about recording here, and it was just amazing to talk about it here with all my Nakama, all my friends, all my family. It was really appreciative that you guys stuck it out with me this long. So guys, until next time, I appreciate you guys one more time. Peace.